Hey everybody, Dr. Pennsylvania here. I know it's been a little while since Bond or I have put an episode out, but we do have a bunch of episodes forthcoming. We've been pretty busy as the warm days over here are starting to waken everything up, including awakening from this whole COVID situation. That seems to be happening. We've also been pretty heavily involved with another podcast with our friend Mike, The Ghost Furnace, which, if you haven't checked out the Ghost Furnace podcast, I'd ask you to give it a minute of your time, check it out, let us know what you think. It's available on Audible, iTunes, YouTube, and a bunch of other places that Bond knows about, but I do not. We've gotten quite a number of emails over the past few months talking about the personal stories and how people enjoy those. So here's a personal story, and it's a story with a message, an important tale for your edification. I've mentioned in the past that I wasn't always very good at sleeping much, and when this occurred in the autumn of 2005, I had been on the road a lot, driving back and forth from Pittsburgh to New York City, all places in between. I had recently just come back from being in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and in Indianapolis in August, and I got a plane ticket to go to Jacksonville, Florida, and I had been up for the better part of 2 days before that afternoon when I landed in Jacksonville. I go to Jacksonville Airport, and I get a shuttle bus of some kind down to St. Augustine, where I'm going to be spending some time. There's some people I know living there. They've got a place I can stay. And I go with them, and I'm touring the forts and everything, and I see the lighthouse across that coastal way, which is supposed to be really haunted, but I didn't actually tour that lighthouse. I got to see a bunch of other stuff. Walking around the old town, had some fabulous pancakes that were really good down there. But night comes in, and my friends, they turn in for the night, and I decide to go walking around. It's only like 10, and I'm not tired because I don't sleep, because I don't maintain a healthy lifestyle at this time in my life. So a little down the road is this British pub type place. In fact, the guy from behind the bar, who I assumed was the owner, was from Lancaster City. And I had a drink, and they have darts there, and I can throw a pretty decent game of cricket. Not so good at 0-1, because doubling out is the hardest thing. I can throw treble 20s pretty regularly, but doubling out in 0-1, forget about it. Nice guys down there. I'm throwing friendly wagers, a drink wager here and there, and this is what gets me in trouble, because I'm pretty strict that I don't drink more than 2 beers a night, and really I might drink every other week. I'm not a big drinker, I'm barely a small drinker, and I am a control freak, so more than 2 drinks is a bad idea for me, because it's just kind of my own personal feeling about it. So I'm winning, I've had maybe 3 drinks, I go and I'm just kind of seeing what's on draft, and they have cider on draft. Now this is back in 2005, before ciders were readily available just everywhere, and I never had the opportunity to have one. But I had heard about cider through listening to a lot of English music. So the guy behind the bar pours me a glass of woodchuck, and it was pretty good. I liked it. And I go back and I play another game of darts, and I come back and I say to the guy, well, what should I have now? And Mr. Lancaster City himself says, well, look, you ought to have a snake bite. He pours a half glass of Bass. Then on top of the Bass, he pours a cider, the woodchuck again. And I drink it, and it's good. It's too good. It's dangerously good. The danger lies in the fact that having the beer in there takes away that tartness of the cider, which kept you sipping it, and this just went down really easy. So I had a regrettable amount, and now I'm compromised. And I realize this, but it's already kind of too late, so I say, well, I'm cutting myself off, I'm done, I'm gonna walk back to where I'm staying. So I do, but kind of like the Bionic Woman, every step I'm taking huge long strides, covering 100 yards with a single bound. That's what it feels like, and that noise of wah, 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 is going through my head as I'm traveling down the sidewalk, and I get back to where I'm staying, and I'm standing in the bathroom looking at myself in the mirror, and I have this memory burned into my brain. I'm gripping the sink, the white sink, hard. My knuckles are tight, and I'm looking into that mirror. I'm looking into my eyes in that mirror, and the thought is said in my head quite loudly, it's my first night in Florida, and I need to get a tan. But what am I going to do with all this hair in the way? So you can see the logic unfolding. Yes, it is my first night in Florida. Yes, it's hard to get a tan in the middle of the night, especially with all this hair in the way. So again, you can kind of see the logic. And the next thing I knew is I was waking up and standing up, holding something what looked like a mutilated paintbrush in my hand, which was in fact my 2-blade Bic razor, which I had gotten from the dollar store on the way down to St. Augustine. I stared at the paintbrush for a moment, realizing what had happened. As I look down, I see that I am missing all the hair from my legs, most of my head, and my left forearm, but not my right forearm, because it is really hard when you're right-handed to shave your right forearm. I dare you to try it. You'll probably end up spinning around in the circle, which is quite likely how I got the gash that was in my forehead, because yes, as I stood up, a roll of toilet paper attached to the gash in my forehead rolled down my naked body. My big toes were shaven, but even weirder and worse than that was that I had shaved my eyebrows. Thankfully, only 2, maybe 3 hours had passed, and I was able to clean up this mess the best I could. Looking around too, I realized I was going to look weird without eyebrows, so thankfully there was some Maybelline in behind the mirror in the medicine cabinet, and I was able to draw on some decent looking eyebrows, or so I thought. I was still in a compromised state, and one of those eyebrows was up way high, so for the rest of my time there, I looked like I was incredulous, skeptical about anything and everything being said, which, isn't really that far off from the truth. I showered, I got dressed. I am not a very hairy person, but when you've got your right forearm with hair and your left forearm sans hair, it's kind of highlighting the fact. So I put a jacket on, not a heavy jacket, just a light Harrington jacket. And yeah, it's October. It's October up in Pennsylvania. It's still October in Florida, but Florida October is very different. And now I'm walking around everywhere with a wool hat and a light Harrington jacket on, and by 11 in the morning, I am sweating. And let me tell you what eyebrows do. People, eyebrows keep sweat from entering your eyeballs. So now as I'm walking, the sweat, it's just a cascade, a deluge of sweat straight into my eye sockets, and my eyes are red and burning, and my vision's a little blurry, and my eyebrows are constantly questioning everyone. It is weird, and thankfully, if anybody knew, everybody had the collective decency not to say anything about the situation, and I would fly back to Pittsburgh the next day, a little wiser, feeling a bit foolish, being much more strict to my 2-drink limit, no matter how free those drinks are, no matter, even though I had earned those drinks through tests of skill. No, eyebrows are important, and this is a personal tragedy. But there it is, a story of how I learned to love cider. I still love cider. How I learned to really appreciate eyebrows. I've kept them ever since. And at the end of the day, it's a cautionary tale. A tale of why you should be responsible. A tale of why you should make sure you get plenty of sleep. And I can't say it enough, Maybelline really lives up to those promises. That stuff did not run the whole time I was sweating bullets, and yeah, don't shave your eyebrows. No matter how badly you think you need that tan, because I'm here to tell you, you're gonna tan. Either way, you know how you won't get a tan when you're in Florida? By wearing a jacket the whole time.